Okay, we continue with this episode of Deals and Deadlines, your sports business podcast. I'm Matt Chernoff with Hadley Engelhardt. I'll remind you, if you're new around here, hi. Thanks for joining us. You can subscribe to our little sports business podcast, which drops new episodes each and every Friday, wherever you get your favorite pods. And you can watch us on the 680 The Fan YouTube channel. All right, Hadley, I want to pick your brain as the agent who have had older players. Maybe not mid-40s, but a story popped this week that the Colts, who are desperate for quarterbacks, Daniel Jones got hurt. Then they lost their backup, Riley Leonard, and they'd already been without Anthony Richardson. So now they've called 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. Take him out of mothballs. They bring him out. They're like, we're going to put you on the practice squad. If we need you, you're going to have to go play. Tell me what that conversation is like. How are you in contact with him? Is he staying in good shape? Is this just like a desperation thing? Have you seen anything like this?
Well, not at this age, obviously. And he has been out of football for a number of years, not a year or so. So surprising. However, if Phillip, obviously, and his agent, you know, he's been training, he's been coaching, but he may be working on his craft, and always said, hey, if there's an opportunity that's perfect, I will stay in shape, I'll be game ready, and let me know, and so I can prepare for it. Listen, Phillip Rivers is 44. He's got 9 kids.
He's got like 38 kids. They don't stop having kids.
He wanted to go back to work.
I'm sure.
So it's...
What does the practice squad pay?
$18,000.
So it's not, he's rich. It's not about the money.
Now, that's the $18,000 is on the practice squad. If they need him, they're going to elevate him, and he'll get the minimum salary, which is just over $1 million for his years of service, divided by 18. He's not doing it for the money. This contract is a very minimal contract. But I think it's something that, hey, I want to give it one more shot. They're a playoff contender. I'm in great shape, and let's see what happens. So putting him on the practice squad isn't a red flag, like why not the active roster? Because you have 3 free elevations. So you just do that to see if it works, and if it does, great, and you get to keep your other 53 players intact. But listen, with 9 kids, I'd be going back to work too.
I will. From a business standpoint, I'd be worried about his health if he gets on the field.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of shape a 44-year-old's in. It's different than NFL shape. And let's be honest, Phillip Rivers' arm 4 years ago was barely getting the football where it needed to go. So I get they're desperate. As the agent, I wonder what kind of conversation you have of like, they really might play you. Are you ready for the idea of getting hit again?
Yeah, and listen, they went through this. They've had these conversations. He went up there for a workout and obviously threw the ball well enough that they said, let's do it. If they weren't a playoff team, you'd find a guy from the practice squad somewhere that you maybe never heard of that they would have brought there. But they are truly a playoff team. And so they want a veteran there that can help guide them and lead them. You know, I think they'll end up giving the rock to Jonathan Taylor much more. You know, like there'll be a lot more things going on in the running game and the short passing game, especially early on, to see if he can take these hits.
I wonder how many agents and old quarterbacks started like loosening up their arms and like, do you think you could still play again if they call you?
I'm still waiting for the call.
Yes, I understand. Okay, so help me understand what's going on with the Taylor Swift viewership stuff, right? Everybody complained. We saw Taylor too much. She was on for 3 seconds, a stop when she was at a Chiefs game. Well, this year she's barely being shown. You and I joked about this earlier in the year that there were times when she would do the walk-in, NBC would show her on Sunday night or whoever the network was. At one point, there was like a big moving screen in front of her. Is this a Taylor decision? Because it can't be a league decision. Like, why would all of a sudden we go from seeing Taylor as much as we have to not seeing her at all?
Well, I don't think it's a Taylor decision. I think, listen, there's cameras everywhere. They can choose, in the big truck decide. There's a camera always on her, I'm sure, and they can decide to go to that at any point. Just like we have here, so that's not it. I think this is not a breakup. I think it's just a timeout. And listen, the reality of it is Kansas City's not a very good team right now. They don't look like they're going to be a Super Bowl team like they have in the past. And so I think that plays into it as well.
Do you really? This one surprises me. I don't think it has anything to do with the team. They get all the primetime games. She's there. She was just there this past week when they played on primetime. I think they showed her once.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's not a huge deal. It's just confusing to me. We went from all that where the brand is being built, young girls, big following, and now you're not showing her at all. I'll disagree with that. I think
so you think she went to them and said, hey, keep me out of this? And
I have to believe that she said, I'm going to be there. I don't want it to focus on me as much. Hadley, I just can't figure out anything else because maybe she's like, this is Travis's last year potentially. Make it all about him. Make it all about him. I can't wrap myself around anything else because the league was loving the Taylor influence.
Right. And listen, you may be right. And it may be a combination of the two, that, hey, the team's not doing as well and it's not as relevant. So, yeah, listen, we don't know. I also think part of it may be, third part of it may be, if you recall last year, she was in deep talks about doing the Super Bowl. And so therefore they were building that momentum as well as they were going to, when they decided not to work with her for whatever reason, we talked about it in the past, maybe now they're saying, all right, so she's not the focal point because she's not going to be part of our brand come Super Bowl.
She's in timeout.
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. So they're giving some space right now. And again, the team's not doing great. So it doesn't become, people aren't talking about the Chiefs every day anymore like they were in the past. So it becomes less relevant. But I think it's a combination of what you said, what I said, and then also the fact that she's not performing at the Super Bowl. I think it's a combination of all three of those.
Okay, so we found out a lot more about the World Cup matchups. We're in Atlanta. We're going to be one of the host cities. So we started to see the pods and the way everything's going to break down for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We've also found out that we will have breaks for the first time each half in tournament history, effectively dividing matches into quarters. They're saying to protect players. They're going to count them as water breaks, but also build them into TV timeouts the way you would get in a football game or any other kind of game. Now, I know this is not going well around the world. One of the great things about soccer, as our friends would call it globally, football, is the fact that there are no breaks. You're playing your 90 minutes, and we're doing our 45 minutes, and if we have more time put on the clock due to an injury or whatever, that's fine. This is what it obviously would be, right? This is, let's build in an opportunity to make a ton of revenue if we're Fox in this case, but it is not going over with soccer purists very well.
Yeah. So you don't think they're doing it for the player's safety, huh?
I'm sure the water breaks are important. They care about the hydration.
I feel like it's my 3-year-old grandson taking a water break in his little 30-minute soccer clinic.
Do you think the hydration break will be sponsored by whatever water company?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, listen, let's call it what it is, right? They're going to say that it's 100 degrees in all these different markets. Meanwhile, these stadiums are beautiful. It's not 100 degrees.
You're playing inside in Atlanta?
Correct. None of that is true. This is a money-making opportunity. Welcome to United States taking FIFA and looking for the opportunity to try to make as much money as possible, more branding, just like the private equity with colleges. This is just another money-making opportunity. And, I don't think it's sounds great medically speaking that they're looking after the player's best interest and taking some of these water breaks. But you're right. There'll be a sponsorship for the water break. There'll be more commercials to show. So I think it's a benefit money and it benefits. And again, that will trickle down to the FIFA people, because the more money that they make, the more money goes to the FIFA executives. So I think they're saying no, it's not the right thing. But listen, the United States has been saying it for 150 years to move it into quarters because A, it gives a break, but B, it gives you more money-making opportunities.
Okay, I need your lawyer hat for 1 second. There's one more story in football we need to cover. Ohio University placed their head coach Brian Smith on leave back on December the 1st. Now, Smith's attorney says the coach was asked to leave without any explanation, which right there, red flag. He got paid leave after going 8-4, so it's not anything to do with the record of the team, but the school again won't say why. Smith's first day, or Smith being out could avoid a $2.5 million buyout trigger if it's not related to record or if it's not related to the team performance-wise. You as the lawyer, what am I missing here? Because there's something we're not being told.
They're not assuming there's no shenanigans with regard to off-the-field stuff, and they're trying to give the coach a break and do the right PR thing. This is not a football decision. This is an accounting decision. And, obviously, if there's, something that they could do to protect their interest, again, it gets back. They're all making these business decisions that affects their bottom line. And so until we know the facts that there's anything going on with the coach, this doesn't look like a football decision. It looks like a true accounting. And they're trying to protect their best interest because they know that this coach at 8-4 could go elsewhere and affects them getting paid back and things like that. Because when you go to Ohio University as a coach, that's not your resting spot. That's not a Georgia, that's not an LSU or a Florida. That is a place you go to in the MAC that you look to go into the SEC or the ACC. And so those coaches and those schools really want those buyouts because that helps their budget. And so we'll see how this plays out, but it's very interesting.
All right, we'll find out more about that. Coming up, we'll talk about baseball's winter meetings. We'll talk about one of the guys in his industry who's just strutting around baseball's winter meetings, an agent being treated like a superstar. Plus, I'm offended by something that happened personally in my life that has a business angle to it. I'll share it with Hadley next.